Welcome back. Today we're going to properly review my favorite figure from 2025, and then we are going to kitbash the absolute hell out of him and turn him into something completely new for my collection. If that sounds interesting, stick around. So this is the Gravity Garden Hunter of Dragonfyre from VToys. Gravity Garden seems to be this original creation from VToys. There's very little information out there about it, but Akiline on Instagram posted a kind of like a concept art comic introducing this character and some other characters as well. All of this is posted on China's biggest social media platform, and I'm not sure if we'll get anything else about this here in the US besides the toys, but that is enough for me personally. At Wonderfest last year, they showed 2 more figures. There's a very cool knight that I have pre-ordered, and there's also this amazing kind of wolf knight as well. So before I start playing with this guy, I'm going to show you the base body that he's on, because I have it. This is VToys' latest base body, and it is insanely posable. You can like curl this guy up into a ball if you want to. That is crazy, right? So even though he's got a bunch of weapons and cloth goods and stuff, you can still get this guy into just crazy, crazy poses. And look at that, even with like way too many weapons on him and all of his accessories, I can very easily just start making him look cool. Everything feels really nice too, like the cloth goods don't feel cheap, and there's wires where there needs to be, so that you can have everything kind of flowing, but also the wires are not that strong, so that means that you could very easily drape them again without like struggling to get them to go down. There's even wires in these kind of like wizard sleeves he's got going on here. I do like these, but sometimes while handling they can get crumpled up. Still, in spite of that, we've got quite the figure here. Oh dear. So the horns like to fall off sometimes. Articulation is just unmatched. Like, I can very easily have this guy doing like a crazy axe kick, or just to show how easy it is to swap stuff around, let's get this big sword out. Pop that hand off. Get this other gripping hand on here. Hand swaps are a little tough. I definitely would recommend heating them up. So since he's got a larger sword, you definitely want him to use that in 2 hands. Hand popped off. That is, okay, that is one criticism I have, is that the hands are pretty stiff, but when you are not dealing with that problem, as you can see, you can very easily hold a sword with 2 hands, no problem. He can bring it back. So yeah, with both hands on the sword, you can very quickly get him into some cool 2-handed swings. No problem at all. I mean, look at that. Nice, right? And the cool thing about this guy is because he comes with so many weapons, even though you can put them on him, I think it's better to kind of try and focus on what you want him to be. Because with everything on him, it does get, like, even though I was saying with everything on him I can pose him just fine, it can get a little fiddly, and I personally think it makes him kind of busy. So when you start to kind of focus a little bit, like maybe we could take the Bloodborne hat off, and adjust these horns here. We can focus on like just the fact that he's got a big sword and the dragon wing. And I think he actually starts to look better the more you kind of pick a lane and streamline him a bit. So whether that means like you're gonna display him one way, or you want him to be like a desk figure, so you're like one day he's got the big sword, and then another day you kind of take some stuff off, maybe pop this hat back on. This is magnetized, by the way, which is very cool. And then we could say put like this cool, like more elegant sword. It's very long though. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, you could give him like the lighter sword, and where did I put that? So you give him like the sword and the gun, and then he's like got a totally different look to him. And I think that's really cool. It's nice to have a figure that has so many different options. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't see reviews mentioning, and I actually had to look at like the promo shots of this figure to find this. I was wondering where you're supposed to put the smaller scabbard, because the big one tucks pretty nicely in here, but hidden between the coat and this cloth that goes above the pants is this little strap. See that? See with the hole right there? That is where you slide this in. And depending on your figure, it might need a little tightening. So there is a little, you can pull on a little strap here. So if you pull on this guy, you can tighten it a bit, get it to how you want it. And that is where that scabbard is supposed to go. Now I do really like that all of his weapons have somewhere to go. If you want him to just be completely kitted out, you can sheath both of his swords, like so. And he could just, you know, a staff you don't really usually put away. Like, you know, sometimes video games will glue it to your back, but truly if you're carrying a staff, you're carrying it. That's just what you do. Except, there's nowhere for his pistol to go, as far as I've seen. And I can understand why, because, so with the pistol, as awesome as it is, it's kind of hard to store it because you've got this little thing here. So even if you were to like make a holster for it, it's got to contain like all of this so that this doesn't get caught on anything. I am going to try and make one, so I will show how that ends up if I like it. Also, the way you attach the dragon wing is this hole in the back of his shirt, which is hard to pull apart, and you also have to part his undershirt too. So you kind of really have to get in there. Yeah, you can see the hole, and that is what you peg this into. But yeah, once it's in, it's in. So overall, our walking arsenal here is very fun to handle. There are a lot of parts, and sometimes things can fall off, but generally, things stay on pretty well. Are you enjoying the video? Then please consider subscribing, because once I hit 1,000 of those, I will be doing a collection tour video where I go through each and every one of my displays. Thank you so much for your consideration, and back to the video. Alright, let's look at everything that he comes with and see if we think this is worth the price. So figure itself, actually not as many paint hits as you would expect. It's mostly the faces and then the boots and the gauntlets, but I love these. I really dig the whole like long coat but armor for the boots and the gauntlets. The cloth goods themselves are a really nice material. We got the straps here, and there's so many little dragon accents on this guy. Like, look at this little pin on his coat. I think that looks very cool. Oh, and also this is a little clicky button if you want to more easily take the coat off. We got a wired hood too. And let's go over accessories. As I mentioned earlier, we got this very cool like Bloodborne hat, which has a little magnet in it, so it just pops right onto his head. Oh yeah, there was this little piece of cloth. This was tied around one of his sleeves. It came off at some point while I was handling the figure, and I don't want to put it back on, but it's cool. We've got this awesome alternate head where he's kind of, seems like he's kind of like halfway turning into a dragon or something. Very cool. And this is actually a second set of horns too, so you can see that even though they're removable, you don't have to swap them if you're just swapping the heads. But while we got a head here, let's do this. And these hairs are swappable too, so you can give the more kind of distressed hair on the regular face. And on top of that, these eyes are adjustable. These little tiny eyes. So you can see we got the adjustable eyes there. You can use this little tool to adjust them, but it's so small. And honestly, I kind of just want to leave them the way they are, because like, you gotta really get in there to even like notice that the pupils have moved a bit. Especially with this face. Very cool that they have it though. We've also got this lovely, very long sword. Looks really nice. Great details. Some scratches on there. Maybe he's used the scabbard itself as a weapon, or maybe he uses it to like block attacks. And we got this much larger sword. Really, really great sculpting on the scabbard here. And so many little kind of dragon motifs all over this guy. The sword is gorgeous. I love all these little etched details. I really love too, like, even like there's little nicks on the blade as well to show it is very well used. These are fun to sheath too. And we got this awesome dragon staff. This was apparently a pre-order bonus. I'm not sure if like where he's in stock anywhere, this will come with it, but yeah, very cool. Maybe like a first run thing. And here's an open version of the wing that we were looking at earlier, so you just swap it onto that piece that plugs into the back. Very nice. And here's our wing apparatus up close. So just one peg. It's too bad. I would love to I would have loved to have an option for him to have 2 wings, but I guess he's kind of doing the Kingdom Hearts cloud thing. Also got this pistol, again, little great dragon accents on here. And we got lots and lots of hands. And as far as hands go, we have gripping hands, we have fists, relaxed hands, trigger finger hands for the gun, and these very cool splayed out hands for casting magic and one of my favorite inclusions with any figure, some extra wrist joints just in case they break. Very, very nice to have. So yeah, in spite of this guy being a little pricey, I think he absolutely is worth the value. He is incredibly well made and comes with a ton of stuff. Alright, let's scale this guy up with some other figures that I think he looks good with. And let's start with what I'm sure everyone wants to see, the Bloodborne Figmas. He's definitely got a full head on a John Bloodborne there on the left. But on the right, we have Lady Maria, and they look great together. Also, fun fact, he is way better at sitting in Lady Maria's chair than she is. He can just do it, while with her, you've got to swap out some special leg parts. And let's keep that theme going with some custom Bloodborne hunters. We've got Mezco 112 Gotham by Gaslight Batman, and my Mythic Legions Bloodborne hunter. Figma Twilight Princess Link and D-Arts Raido Kuzunoha, both Bloodbornified. Okay, I'll stop. Here is definitely not Kratos from VToys and my custom Savage Crucible Dovahkiin. Ah crap, he fell over. Zezre Studios Gold Hilder and Roman Key Algar. VToys Asura and Nota White Cat Legend. Some big boys from MediToys, and even bigger boys from Loose Collector. And now for the part I'm most excited about for this video, it's Kitbashing Time. Now when I first pre-ordered this guy, I was certain I was going to make him a Bloodborne hunter. I have changed my mind, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to do that. Let's grab a scarf. Actually here, let's pop this off. Wrap a scarf around his face. You can definitely do this with a smaller piece of cloth goods. This is just what I have on hand. Pop the hair back on. Done. Well, okay. So let's actually get some Bloodborne weapons into his hands. He does hold them beautifully. So you do kind of have to open the hand up a little bit, but he will hold a saw cleaver just fine. There you go. You can also hold the blunderbuss perfectly. And there you go. A very good Bloodborne hunter. But I have other plans. So here we are again with the full figure, all of his stuff equipped. Let's modify him for my collection. Now what I like to do with my figures, especially when I customize them, is make their full loadout practical. There should be somewhere to put their stuff, they should be able to get to it, and it should all make sense together. So let's talk about this guy's loadout, how it is right now. We have a staff that he carries. We have a pistol that does not currently have a holster. We've got a very, very long, thin sword. Super cool, but probably almost impossible to draw from the hip or from the back for that matter. And similarly, we also have another very large sword, probably meant to be used in 2 hands, that is stored on the back. That's a lot of weapons. So what I really want to do is streamline this guy's arsenal, and I think I have some cool ideas. So first let's think about what kind of character this guy is. I see him as kind of like a spell sword, you know, like a magic user who's also very good with weapons. So with that in mind, I think we can reduce the amount of weapons this guy is carrying. So I really want to keep the staff, but just to try it out, let's get rid of some of this stuff. Get rid of the sword, or actually, you know what? Let's start with the big sword. Let's get rid of that. Pistol's cool. I'm going to take this off for now. Okay. So we've got a staff. We got a sword. That's very, very Gandalf. I like that. On top of that, I really like the idea that these dragon features, like the horns and the wing, maybe those could be something that like appear in a powered up state. So for now, I'm going to pop this off. And an interesting thing I also noticed is like he's got a hood, but he also has this hat. And I know it's stupid, but that bothers me. So what I am going to do, which might be a controversial decision, is I'm taking this hat off. Or I found someone on Facebook who was selling the individual parts, and I bought the buck, and I'm going to make a Bloodborne hunter. And I'm going to use this hat for that. That will be a future video. So for this guy, we're starting to get to something a little bit more focused. So like I said, the dragon appendages will be something that comes out when he goes into some kind of like powered up state, maybe casts a spell or something. So now we can actually make use of this hood, which is very cool. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who buy this guy will not even put the hood up because it's hard to let go of that cool hat unless you're going to put it on something else. I'm already pretty happy with this. I mean, we've got a much more reasonable set of weapons. We got a staff for casting magic and whatnot. And we got this sword here, which, you know, he could draw out. And just pretending that he can actually get it out of there. Let's put it in his hand and just see how this looks. So yeah, this is already pretty cool, right? Like, you know, we can get him into some very cool... I mean, like, damn, right? Like that's pretty awesome. So yeah, if I were limiting to myself to what comes with the figure, I think I would consider myself done. We got ourselves a really cool spell sword guy here, and then he can, you know, power up and get the dragon wing, and I could switch to the kind of dragon head, and yeah, he's good. He's a spell sword. He can go all dragon when he wants to power up. But we are not done. No, we're sorry. No, we are not done. We are gonna make a combination weapon. So do any of you remember that cinematic trailer for Dragon Age 2 where the protagonist has this awesome like staff sword? I love that thing. I never actually got around to playing Dragon Age 2. The only one I've actually played was Inquisition. I know that's probably terrible, but whatever. But anyway, I want to see if I can recreate that weapon for this character, because I think that would just be perfect, right? Like that's the perfect spell sword weapon. You got it all in one. So let's think about how we're going to do that. So we've got the sword here, and we got the staff. Now this sword is almost as long as the staff. So I think just a mechanism to combine these two would just be way too long of a polearm. So what I think is that we are going to turn this staff, this staff into a cane. And then I think we're going to end up giving this guy a different sword, one that is not so long. As cool as it is, I think I know what I want to do. And I certainly will use this sword for another figure. Okay, here's the plan. So we are going to trim this staff down to make it a cane. I think this little detail here might actually be the perfect place to cut. Then we are going to give him this sword. But what we're going to do is make it so that this sword can attach to the cane to make that cool polearm I was talking about. So it'll look kind of be about this long, roughly. And we are going to do that using this Mythic Legion's polearm to basically give this sword a new handle, one that will be hollow for the staff to slide into. Let's see how it goes. All right, first we are going to trim this staff into a cane. Give it a little cut. I haven't gotten used to doing this to action figures yet, even though I enjoy it so much. All right, let's test out our length here. Slide that in. And yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, that feels pretty good. A little walking stick. All right, I'm already in love with this cane look. There's just something There's just so much swagger when a character has a cane, right? Next, we need to make our sword that can attach. Time for the clippers again. We are going to do a cut right about here. Hold on to that. Nice. Okay, get a nice clean, pretty clean cut there. And, whew, okay. Oh, time to ruin a cool looking sword. But we're gonna make something even cooler. This one feels extra painful. Here we go. Did it. All right. First thing we gotta do is make a hole in this, and hopefully we'll just be able to stick this peg right in there. So I'm starting with something that is probably too small, but help us gauge. That's kind of funny. Too small. All right, success. This sword has a new handle now. Now we need to make a hole we need to make a hole in the handle that the cane can slide into. Based on the width, we may not be able to go all the way in. We'll see. This is different. Can't even like get that off of there. What is that? Whoops, drilled too far. Just completely destroyed the handle there. New plan. All right, it's been a few days since I ruined multiple extra pole arms trying to make a hollow handle for that sword, so I finally decided that I'm just gonna have to buy something. So what I did is I used my digital caliper here to measure the diameter of the cane and searched for any kind of hollow tube that I could cut down and turn into a handle. And what I found were these beads. So as you can see, if I take one here and slide the cane on, look at that, perfect, right? So then the only thing left to do is attach it to the blade. Just gonna have to glue that in, but look at that. Oh, I also hollowed out the blade a little bit so that the cane can slide in even farther. Look at that, how cool is that? I also decided that I would really like him to be able to hold the cane more like an actual cane, so I need to give it some kind of curved handle. Alright, I think we have our winner, this Mythic Legion's horn. Should give it enough clearance to have a curved handle while still being able to plug into the cane. Okay, now we're talking, look at that. Got a nice hooked handle there. Now he can hold it like an actual cane, except now it's a smidge too long, so we're gonna cut that down a little bit more. All right, now we're talking. Look at him holding it like an actual cane. How cool is that? Do like this pose. Actually leaning on it. Nice. So there you have it, a super cool dragon-themed cane and some kind of enchanted blade that you can combine with it to create a staff sword. Hell yeah. What should I call this thing? All good weapons need a name, right? I'm thinking like maybe the dragon tail. This is hard to get on camera and not have my hands look stupid, but this is the coolest weapon I have ever made. All right, the last thing I want to change is the horns. So I had this idea that maybe we could do like a Hellboy situation where, you know, but most of the time the horns are kind of like filed down, and then when he cuts loose or whatever the case is, then the horns kind of grow back. So same idea here. So maybe we would like trim down the horns, and then we still have this head for the larger horns. So to do that, we will need to trim these down in such a way that the hood can still go on, that they're still coming out of the head, and still look cool, because we still want this to look appealing, even with the horns trimmed down. So let's see how it goes. Let's see, I think like maybe about here might still look cool, because you still kind of have like that kind of pointy look when you're looking at him dead on. Like almost he's got like the little red devil horns. That seems about right. Here we go. Carefully. Okay. kind of just looks like some weird nubs sticking out. Maybe if we trim a little bit more here. All right, that actually looks pretty good. I thought I might have to use some epoxy to kind of reshape them, but I actually kind of like this sort of a little bit pointy, you know, kind of still has the silhouette look, and hopefully his hood will fit over these. Let's see. Put that head back on. Let's see, make sure the hood still looks good. Like this. Yeah, that's looking pretty solid. Now we've got this cool look where he's got the hood on, concealing his horns. Oh, I'm also making him a pistol holster. So I've just got this little piece of fake leather here that I've cut into this shape. When you fold it in half, kind of looks like a holster. And we can slide the gun in there. And it's got enough room for this little dragon nub to have clearance. Slide in and stay, slide out. So next I'm gonna glue this together, and then I'm gonna see if I can make him a little belt to actually put this on the figure. All right, I've made him a little belt. It's currently tucked under the shirt here. I'm not sure if I like the buckle sticking out or if I'll put this over the white shirt, so I'm gonna try a few things and then attach the holster. Well, I got a little carried away, so now we've got a holster and a scabbard. And, you know, these don't look amazing, but they're gonna be kind of hidden under the soft goods anyway, so I think this is gonna look very cool. Come on, dude, stand up. All right, let's put this on. Get this to go through the other side. Where's my tweezers when I need them? Get that the rest of the way. Yeah, nice. Get this all situated. Damn. How cool is this guy? I'm very happy with myself. He's got a perfectly practical loadout. I'm surprised how much the buckle added to break up the design on the front. And he's just got everything I wanted. We got this cool cane, we got a sword and a scabbard that I made. And I like that the holster for the gun is like pretty much hidden. Like it's here, holstered and everything, but this top coat just perfectly hides it. That's awesome. But he still has quick access to it with this hand, so he can reach in and grab it. And then he can also reach over, pull out the sword, so that we can combine them together. So I picture him like maybe throwing the cane out to about this level, getting the sword ready, and then just cool pose, whoosh, pushes these together, being a little careful because there's a bit of a varnish inside here. It's a bit tighter fit than it was, but there you go. Look at that. This guy turned out even cooler than I expected. I thought I was gonna have to get rid of the gun because I just couldn't handle him not having a holster, but I figured it out. And this was a nice step forward for me. I've never messed around with leather, making little belts and stuff, and I had a lot of fun. And I just love the like visual progression you can do with this guy. Like he's kind of more subdued, his weapons are mostly put away, and he can just like use the cane or the pistol to quickly dispatch enemies that he doesn't want to waste energy on, that he totally outclasses, and then he can start, you know, firing magic out of the cane, whip out the sword when things get a little more hairy, and then he can power up into like his dragon form and combine the weapons together, and then he's got this awesome sword staff that gives him great reach, and also he can still shoot magic out of it. And like, I just love that. I love that even after kitbashing this guy and removing a bunch of parts, I still managed to end up with a figure that has a ton of variety. I really, really like my Dragonborn, but I think this is my new favorite custom. All right, as always, we will wrap things up by putting him in the case. He is now the centerpiece of my dark fantasy team, looking very cool. I think these guys are just patiently awaiting Geralt and they'll be all set. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy ambitious custom projects like this, you should check out my video where I made my own Dragonborn. He's right over there. Bye.